Hello everyone, welcome back to another session with me. I am Sanyukta Saxena, certified Zentangle teacher, and continuing with our original series now that our bookmark special series is over. I hope you enjoyed the series. So we'll continue with our previous series of revisiting the Zentangle original patterns which have been originally issued by Zentangle headquarters. So continuing the journey, today's pattern is Icanthis. So we'll be learning the basic pattern today, and we shall also draw a tile together using the pattern Icanthis and a few more tangles to go along, right? So let us get started right away. So let us first learn how to draw the basic pattern Icanthis, right? So it is a very organic looking pattern and it has lot of similarities to the tangle that we have already learned, which is Samson, right? Just a few differences. So Icanthis starts like these random stems, right? And then the next step is to add these leaf-like ends at the end of the stems, like this, right? So I've just drawn a curve just as you have at the top of a leaf shape at the end of the stem, a little above the stem. The third is to add these U shapes, these curves or C shapes or U shapes, whatever you want to call them, the basic Zentangle shapes, right? That was the third step. The next is to join these together by a shaky or crinky line, just as we do in case of Samson. So I am now just going to shake my hand real hard and just join these lines using this shaky line, right? So just going to join these lines like these, right? Now you can always add some small stems inside, looks nice, like these, right? And the last thing you can do is add a curve like this to give an impression of a fold in the leaves, right? And you can always add, just like Samson, some inking to these sections to add some character, right? So wherever there is a turn, you can always add some weight there, not much, little bit, like this, right? So this is the basic pattern Icanthis. So the first step was to draw the stem. The second step was this leaf top. The third step was these C shapes. The fourth step was to connect these C shapes, right? The fifth step was the curve, and the sixth step is to add some weight here and there. That's the tangle pattern Icanthis, right? Very leafy, very organic looking tangle. So how do we generally shade it? We generally shade it on one side and we highlight the other side, so that gives the impression of a fold in between, right? So generally we add shading on one side. So just blend this on one side like this, right? Yeah, that's about shading Icanthis, right? So how do we generally play around? You can always play around with the stem, right? So add something to the stems, something like this, right? And you can always add some filling inside. You can always add fillings inside these spaces. So a lot of just let your imagination go wild. I'll show you few examples of where I've used the tangle, right? So this is a tile I posted recently on my Insta. So you can see this is Acanthis and small little spaces. It always looks nice if you fill it in, right? And some dots, right? So this is the pattern dream catcher to go along with it. Again, Icanthis, then senna surrounded by Icanthis and some umbel, right? And this is another tile which I drew with Acanthis like this in a circle, and some caviars and fescues and flux to go along, right? So a very simple tile, the teaser that I posted, Acanthis with some jetties and printums and a normal shattered border, right? Simple tangle. And the last one that I posted recently, again floors, some anise, Acanthis and Vinex, right? So we will draw a tile today using the pattern Vinex, Acanthis and a few more tangles, right? So let's go ahead with today's session. So I have a regular square tile in front of me, and I am now going to start with a gem, right? So I'm going to add a circle here like this, right? And then I'm first going to add some C shapes like these around the circle, right? And then I'm going to introduce the pattern Vinex that we have already learned. Yes. So in case you are new to the tangle, please refer to the previous videos and that will help you. You can always watch me drawing the pattern again, right? So I'm drawing these leaf shapes. They are emanating from the center. They are joined with each other, right? And they are complete leaf shapes. I'm not drawing behind here. Like this, right? Another Vinex like this. Again, I'm going to add these leaf shapes. So keep rotating your tile. Don't move your hand much. The small little spaces that you find in between can always be inked. Looks nice also. So take your time, go slow. Right, so that's one more Vinex. And I'm going to add one more here. So just a combination of these seed shapes drawn in a certain fashion gives the pattern Vinex, right? And I am now going to be auraing these Vinex as is the part of original tangle to add an aura, right? So just closely aura the leaf shapes or the seed shapes. Fill in the small spaces left in between. Yeah. Just adding a close aura to my Vinex. Yeah. So done with that exercise. Now this part of my tile I am going to be using for Icanthis. So I'm going to draw some free flowing stems here like this. Yeah, and then going to next step, adding these leaf kind of shapes above it. Yeah, just as we learned. Right, and the next step is to add these curves, C shape or U's, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, the next would be to join these. I am now going to join it with a very shaky and crinky hand. Yeah, sorry for that. Again, going to join the next. So you can see I'm not thinking about the shape here, just zigzag lines connecting the C first and then you can very comfortably leave some small spaces in between. That's okay. It looks nice when we ink them. Yeah. So spaces are small, so go slow, take your time. Yeah. So that's our acanthus. Now these small little spaces between, I'm going to first ink it. Yeah. So you can always close the spaces if, or you can ink it just like that. Just like a highlight. We'll see if we want to ink more. Yeah. So going to be inking this section just above the gem that I'm going to be drawing. Yeah, adding some weight here and there, adding that fold to the leaf. Yeah, I think we are done. You can ink this section also to an extent. We shall see if we want to ink the entire space behind the acanthus or if we want to leave it like that. We shall decide that later once we have drawn the rest of our tile. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So right now let us leave it here and proceed to the other part of the tile. So this section I am going to first ink this section. and draw the pattern Banzo probably, yeah, to bring in some drama. So I'm going to start like this and then add these C shapes just like we have in Banzo, right? Going till the end, covering the entire space where my acanthus or my vinax ends, right, like this. Again the same exercise on this side also, starting like this. So Banzo is a very versatile pattern. You can maneuver it any ways which you want, or you can use it to fill up spaces. It's a great drama tangle, adds instantly to the look of your tile because of the inking involved. And you can maneuver it anyway, so you can just fit it into any kind of spaces and it looks nice, yeah. Yeah, so filled up this section with Banzo. Yeah, I'm now going to start inking in pairs of 2. You can leave a highlight or you may choose to add a highlight using your chalk pencil, entirely up to you. So enjoy the inking process also, as I always keep saying. See how it adds to your tile and you'll realize that it is a very important part of your finished tile, the black portions, right? So you can always pick up a bolder nib here. It will be faster. Probably a PN or an 08. Yeah. So simple inking with some highlight in the center, which you can add using your chalk also, just in case you miss it, right? Let me give some time to it. So I'm almost finishing with my inking part here. Inked my Banzos, alternate C shapes, just as we generally do, although options are unlimited. But I like the drama factor added by this inking, so I generally stick to inking as far as Banzo is concerned. However, you can always add patterns also instead of inking, right? So done with that. Now let us start with our center, right? So I'm first going to use my purple watercolor pencil and add a outline to my, right? So just adding the purple watercolor pencil as an outline to the orb or the circle that I've drawn, right? And then moving on to my dark blue, So these are all watercolor pencils. You can use any other pencil. So I am using small circular movements, right? So now that I have added my dark blue, I'm going to move on to my light blue. So now going to add some light blue and leave a highlight, not cover the entire thing, right, like this. And now I'm going to run my light blue over the dark blue also. So started my layering. Like this, right? So basically running my light blue over the dark blue and trying to blend the two colors. Right? So I always find it more comfortable to work with watercolor pencils. You can also use polychromos or any other color pencil which have a nice waxy feel to them, right? So again going back to my purple pencil and just going to re-emphasize a little purple at the top. So drawing gems is basically all about blending. So although there are beautiful kinds of gems that our CZTs have come up with, I am sticking here to the basics. Again using my dark blue pencil over the purple, blending a little with the rest. Yeah, adding some darkness at the bottom also with my dark blue pencil. Yeah, and then finally one more touch of light blue, blending the three together. Yeah, and then finally I'm going to use my white pencil here, right? So I'm just going to soften the overall, including the white space, like this with my white pencil, so it has a more even finish. Yeah, that's about it. And now going to add a highlight with my jelly roll, a small dot, one more line. Yeah, that's about the gem. Now let us move on to shading, right? So you can also add small little enhancements to your Vinex, right? So I'm just going to add a few enhancement like something like these curls inside my Vinex. Not all, probably alternate leaves. So these are nothing but printums arranged like curls, or you can call them mocha, right? So there are so many overlaps between many patterns. So small little embellishment on my Vinex. Yeah, same here. You can add anything else. You can add H marks, whatever you feel like. Please go ahead. You can add other patterns. Yeah, the last one. Yeah, I think we are done, right? So let us now move on to shading our tile. So Banzo, very simple. I am going to add some thick graphite at both the ends and leave the center as it is. There is already a highlight. If you want to re-emphasize, you can always add some more chalk. Yeah, so just add some thick graphite at the ends. Bring it towards the center. Same is the case on the other one. Yeah. And then Vinex, it is up to you how do you want to shade, because I'm going to shade here because the ends are already dark, so I'm just going to add some graphite in the center, right, and blend it because the ends are already dark, so there is no point adding dark again at the ends. I think so, yeah. Again, as I told you, one side of the Vinex always looks nice. So spaces are small, so don't add too much of graphite, otherwise whole of your Vinex will look grey, right? So be careful about that, just add a touch. Yeah, and let us now move on to blending. So now going to just make sure that your ink has dried up, right? So just bring the graphite, you don't even need to put your stem on the inked portion, just pull your graphite from the edges towards the center. Yeah, like this. You already have a highlight in the center, so not much required there. Although I always say that you can always use your chalk pencil to do the same exercise. Yeah, yeah, just even it out. And then the other side also the same way. Pull it towards the center. So if you don't like the empty spaces inside your banzo also, then also you can add something, some embellishment, something in the background of the banzo, right? But I like it this way. See the drama that it adds, just making the ends a little more dark. Yeah, just blend. Yeah, then a light hand on the Vinex, just blend at the center where you also have some inking, so just highlighting the center. Yeah, that's about it. And then moving on to our acanthus, slow. Just blend on one side. Don't blend too much. Keep it to one side of the acanthis, one side of the leaf. Yeah. A very fragile, delicate looking pattern. Again, inspiration is a painting which Rick and Maria saw in a museum. They keep visiting museums, and they like something, then they break it down, and if they have the potential, then they come up with a new pattern. Yeah, I don't think we need anything else here, right? So if you want, you can improve your banzo a little bit. I don't want to, so I'm going to close my tile here, right? So adding my chop, I'm going to sign and date it. Today is 6th of October. Yeah. So hope you enjoyed the session, and I shall meet again with another Zentangle original. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye. Take care.